The starship Aurora's Hope floated quietly in orbit around the Great Human Union space station. It was a peaceful morning across the station's metal corridors, though peace was never simple when humans were involved. Captain Mira stood near the docking bay gate, her uniform clean and her posture tall. She was ready to greet the visitor who had traveled across 7 star systems to be here. The ambassador was named Zal Rune, a well-known representative from the Galactic Harmony Council. His mission was simple on paper: observe humanity, learn about their culture, and report the truth to the galaxy. But rumors filled his mind like thick fog. Some aliens whispered humans were too emotional. Others claimed humans could survive anything. Some even believed humans trained their children to fight storms. Zal Rune told himself not to believe such stories, but doubt lived quietly in the corner of his mind. As the docking gates opened, a warm light spread across the room. The ambassador walked in slowly, wearing a robe of soft blue fabric. His eyes were large and his skin shimmered softly like polished stone. Captain Mira stepped forward and offered a handshake, the human greeting of respect. "Welcome to our station," she said calmly. Zal Rune watched the gesture. He hesitated, then copied it. The human custom felt strange but friendly. "Thank you, Captain. I hope this visit helps us understand each other better." Behind the captain, several human officers stood in a neat line. They wore relaxed smiles and welcoming faces. There were no weapons, no guards aiming at him, no threats. Instead, the room was filled with gentle music coming from hidden speakers. It was soft and peaceful, like waves brushing sand. Zal Rune's species avoided music because emotions were believed to cause confusion. But here, humans accepted music like air. The ambassador's eyes moved across the walls. Beautiful paintings hung there. Landscapes of forests, oceans, and mountains covered in snow. Scenes of distant planets, human engineers waving from construction platforms, and astronauts planting flags on dusty ground. The images told stories of curiosity and hard work. Zal Rune felt something stir inside him. It was admiration, though he didn't want to admit it yet. Captain Mira guided him down a bright hallway. The lights were soft, not harsh. Every human they passed offered polite greetings. Some smiled. Some waved. One even bowed playfully. The ambassador felt confused. Many species feared him. Here, humans simply treated him like a guest. Was it bravery or just a strange culture? He could not decide. As they walked, Zal Rune whispered to his assistant, Valtir, a small creature carrying a data tablet. "Observe everything," he said quietly, "especially how they treat emotions." "Yes, Ambassador," Valtir replied nervously. His antenna shook slightly. He was more afraid of humans than his leader, and he had not heard good rumors about their habits. Some aliens claimed humans laughed during storms and sang while climbing mountains. Valtir hoped those were just stories. The hallway opened into a large viewing chamber with giant windows showing black space. Stars glittered like diamonds scattered across cold velvet. Zal Rune walked closer and pressed his hand against the glass. He knew many species avoided open space views because it created fear. Humans, however, stared into space for inspiration. Captain Mira noticed his interest. "Beautiful, isn't it? We built this station to look outward, not inward." Her voice carried pride. Not arrogant pride, but peaceful pride. Pride in creation. Suddenly, heavy doors slid open on the right. A group of young humans ran out of a room, wearing simple uniforms and carrying notebooks. They were laughing and discussing something. They passed the ambassador respectfully, nodding as they hurried by. Zal Rune blinked. "Children?" he asked. Mira smiled. "Students. They visit the station to learn about life off-world. But they seem calm," the ambassador said. "I expected fear. New environments usually cause fear." Mira answered, "We teach them early. Fear is not an enemy. It is information. We learn from it." Those words were simple, but they hit Zal Rune like soft thunder. His culture avoided fear. Humans studied it. The tour continued. One hall contained art studios. Another contained science labs full of humans mixing chemicals and discussing ideas. Zal Rune saw paintings, sculptures, bookshelves full of thick pages and maps of old Earth. He smelled strange but pleasant scents. Paint, fresh bread, music, information. It was overwhelming. Not bad, just full. Little by little, the ambassador's shoulders loosened. Maybe the rumors were exaggerated. Then he heard 2 humans discussing something called a habitat. They talked about training, mental improvement, and endurance challenges. Their voices carried excitement, almost joy. Zalrun asked, "Habitat? Do you mean living quarters?" Mira shook her head gently. "No, our habitats are designed for growth. Physical, mental, emotional." "Emotional?" Zalrun's voice cracked. Emotions were considered storms in his culture. "Dangerous storms, yes," Mira said calmly. "We believe emotions can be shaped." Zalrun's throat felt tight. His people believed emotions only grew if left alone, like wild roots. They never shaped them. They only hid them. Mira noticed his tension and offered a gentle smile. "Perhaps you would like to see one of our habitats. Everyone who studies humanity starts there." Veltir squeaked nervously, but the ambassador raised a hand. "Yes, I must see it." "I must understand." They reached an elevator. As it moved downward, Zalrun felt the gravity shift slightly. The walls hummed softly around them. He expected cold metal rooms and silent halls. Instead, when the doors opened, a warm breeze flowed in like natural wind. They stepped into an enormous dome filled with plants, real plants, green and tall. Trees stretched upward. Flowers bloomed in many colors. Humans walked along winding paths carrying books or talking casually. Artificial sunlight shined down warm and comforting. "This is indoors?" Zalrun gasped. "Yes," Mira replied. "A controlled environment. Safe enough for peace, challenging enough for growth." They passed a human lifting large weights. Muscles strained, cheeks red. Another human ran on a long machine that changed terrain. The screen showed sandstorms, then changed to mountains. Zalrun had never seen exercise used for joy. In his culture, physical training was only for soldiers. He asked softly, "Why do they train if they are not warriors?" Mira sighed with patience. "Because strength is not only for war. It prepares us for life." These words felt heavy in Zalrun's mind. Strength without war, growth without fear. This was new. They walked further. He saw small rooms where humans sat quietly with closed eyes. Lights moved in patterns across the walls. Their breathing was slow and controlled. "Meditation chambers," Mira explained. "To calm the mind, to focus." "Why improve focus?" the ambassador asked. Mira spoke as if it was obvious. "Because a calm mind can solve problems a worried mind cannot. We train peace like others train muscle." "Peace? Trained?" Zalrun nearly stumbled. His species avoided strong mental focus because it increased emotional pressure. They preferred balance through avoidance. But humans pushed through the storm and came out stronger. They reached a platform where humans practiced teamwork exercises. Each person had a job: lifting blocks, connecting pipes, solving puzzles, thinking quickly. They communicated constantly, not with anger but coordination. They failed sometimes, but every failure was followed by laughter and a repeat attempt. "Failure is allowed here?" the ambassador whispered. Mira nodded. "It is important. Failure teaches faster than comfort." Zalrun's species avoided failure. It caused shame. Then came a moment that deepened his confusion. A human dropped a tool and laughed. Instead of hiding it, 3 others helped cheerfully. No anger. No shame. "They support each other," Veltir said softly, almost in awe. "Yes," Mira answered behind them. "Unity is strength." That sentence was so simple, yet it explained everything. As they continued walking deeper into the habitat, Zalrun noticed something else. No human was alone. Even when training individually, they stayed within sight of others. Humans were social, connected like threads in a strong net. Zalrun asked carefully, "Do humans ever stop improving?" Mira looked at him with steady eyes. "No. Improvement is our nature. Improvement, growth, adaptation." These words formed a storm in the ambassador's mind. Finally, they reached the center of the habitat, a peaceful fountain surrounded by soft grass. Humans sat around in circles, talking, thinking, planning. Zalrun lowered himself onto a bench. His knees felt weak. Everything he saw contradicted alien rumors. Humans were not wild. They were disciplined. They were not chaotic. They were structured. They were emotional, yes, but they shaped those emotions like artists. Veltir whispered, "Ambassador, are you well?" Zalrun stared ahead quietly. "I am learning." Captain Mira sat on the bench beside him. "This is only the first layer, Ambassador. Humanity has many more." He swallowed nervously. "More?" She nodded kindly. "Yes, you will see." The idea of more filled him with dizzy wonder and quiet fear. If this was only the beginning, what would he discover next? For the first time, Zalrun truly realized humanity was not dangerous because of strength. Humanity was dangerous because of growth, and the galaxy had never met a species that grew like humans. Zalrun woke early the next morning inside the guest chamber prepared for him. The room was simple yet peaceful. Soft lights glowed like sunrise against pale walls, and a gentle hum of the station flowed through the floor. The bed was comfortable, warm, and shaped to his body shape automatically. Humans often adjusted their technology to make guests relax. It was strange, he thought. Why would a species considered wild show such gentle care? Veltir was already awake, pacing nervously and holding his data tablet. "Ambassador," he said softly, "I reviewed old reports about human emotional behavior. They all seem exaggerated now." Zalrun nodded. "Yes, but we should not trust first impressions. Today we observe deeper." He dressed in his formal robe and stepped outside. Captain Mira was waiting, still calm, standing with the same polite smile she offered yesterday. "Good morning, Ambassador. Well rested?" "Yes," he answered carefully, though his mind was filled with old fears and new questions. "I am ready to continue." "Good," she said. "Today we explore education halls, cultural chambers, and emotional practice zones." "Emotional practice?" Zalrun whispered. The idea made his skin tighten. His species avoided any emotional spikes to maintain balance. Humans, however, seemed to walk directly into emotional storms. They began the tour. The education halls. The first hall was wide, filled with floating screens, glowing maps, and models of planets spinning slowly. Groups of students sat at round tables working together in small groups. Each student spoke softly, offering ideas carefully and listening to others. Zalrun watched quietly. "Why do they study in groups?" he asked. Captain Mira replied, "Because group learning builds communication. One person can be wrong, but a team can find truth." In his culture, students studied alone, believing group emotion could create conflict. His eyes widened as he saw instead humans collaborating peacefully. The teacher, a middle-aged woman, approached them. She held a glowing pointer in her hand. "Ambassador, are you curious about something?" she asked politely. "Yes," he said. "I see students arguing. Yet it stays organized," the teacher smiled gently. "We teach them how to disagree without anger. Different thoughts help build stronger ideas. Disagree without anger. That concept was new to him. Disagreement always caused stress among his people. One student laughed after she made a mistake and the team corrected it together. No one mocked her. Instead, they supported her. Every mistake became another step forward. Zalrun felt something shift inside his chest. This was not dangerous emotion. This was controlled energy. Cultural chambers. Next, Mira guided him into a hall filled with music instruments, dancing platforms, and screens showing different Earth cultures. Humans danced, painted, and played musical tones filled with emotion. Colors flashed gently across the walls. "This is chaos," Veltir whispered nervously. But Zalrun paused and observed carefully. He saw rhythm, pattern, teamwork. Music moved like a river. Dancers followed each other's steps, communicating without speaking. Painters used colors to show feelings. Musicians smiled as their fingers moved with precision. Ambassador, Zalrun asked, "Why do you practice art? It seems unnecessary for survival." Captain Mira looked at him seriously. "Because survival is not enough. We must live, not only exist." The words were simple yet heavy. Surviving was something every species did, but humans wanted more. They wanted joy, creativity, connection. A young dancer noticed them watching and waved cheerfully. Her movements were balanced and full of confidence. She invited 2 other dancers to join her. Together, they created patterns in the air with their hands. They were building trust through movement. Zalrun felt strangely relaxed watching them. He did not know why. Art felt like emotional exercise, the emotional practice zone. When they reached the next chamber, Zalrun froze. Before him were soft chairs, screens showing emotional scenes, and humans quietly expressing sadness, joy, and calm. Some watched dramatic films. Some wrote letters expressing feelings. Others talked to counselors who listened carefully. Captain Mira explained, "We practice emotions like muscle. We do not hide them. We shape them." "Why?" Zalrun asked, voice shaking. "Because controlled emotion gives strength. It helps us stay calm under pressure. It builds empathy and problem-solving ability." Zalrun felt dizzy. His culture taught that emotion caused chaos. Yet here, humans used emotion as a tool. One counselor spoke gently to a young man, guiding him through breathing exercises. The young man thanked her afterward, smiling with relief. Veltir whispered, "This is training?" Mira nodded. "Yes, managing sadness, controlling anger, growing patience. We train mind like we train body." Zalrun touched the wall for support. It was too much. Humans did not fear emotions. They shaped them like clay. He felt both admiration and quiet fear. Cafeteria and nutrition lounge. Next, they entered a cafeteria filled with soft light, gentle smells, and calm conversation. Humans of all ages sat together, eating healthy meals, drinking tea, and discussing ideas. No one argued loudly. No one acted rude. Zalrun was offered a meal created by the station chef, adjusted to fit his biology. He tasted it and felt warmth spread through his body. "How did you know my diet requirements?" he asked. Mira said, "We studied them long before your arrival. Making guests comfortable is important." "Important? Many species would not care." A human chef approached. "Food shapes mood," he explained. "So we create meals that help balance energy, focus, and calm." Balanced mood. Through food. Zalrun's mind was spinning again. Everything humans touched was designed to improve something. As they ate, students shared stories of their goals. One wanted to explore deep oceans. Another dreamed of building machines that grow plants in space. Their dreams were large, not selfish, but filled with hope. Hope. That was rare in many civilizations. Challenge chambers. After lunch, Mira led them into a large dome filled with different environments. One area simulated desert heat. Another created freezing cold. A third generated heavy rain and strong wind. Humans practiced solving problems in each environment. One team built shelters in the desert simulation. Another group coordinated to carry supplies through the storm. Zalrun gasped. "These are dangerous environments." "They are controlled," Mira said calmly. "We train adaptability here." Adaptability. That word sounded like a heartbeat. Many species adapted slowly through evolution. Humans adapted on purpose, quickly, by choice. One human slipped in the storm and 2 teammates lifted him up. They continued without complaint. "This teaches trust," Mira said. Trust. Another power many species lacked. Observation deck. They reached a high platform overlooking the entire habitat. From there, Zalrun saw everything at once. Humans training body, humans training mind, humans shaping emotion, humans studying, learning, laughing, failing, trying again. Children, adults, elders together. It was not chaos. It was harmony with purpose. Mira asked gently, "What do you feel, Ambassador?" Zalrun answered slowly, honestly. "I feel respect and confusion, and something I cannot name." He placed a hand on the railing. "Your species uses everything, challenge, fear, sadness, joy, to grow stronger." "Yes," Mira replied. "Growth is our way," Zalrun sighed. "Your people do not hide from storms," Mira smiled softly. "No, we learn to walk through them." Quiet garden of reflection. Mira guided them into a small garden filled with flowers, soft benches, and running water. Humans sat silently, eyes closed. "This is where we process emotion after training," she explained. "Processing emotion?" Zalrun repeated slowly. His culture never processed emotion. They simply ignored it. A human counselor walked by and bowed gently. "Welcome," she whispered, offering a peaceful smile. "Why do they bow?" Beltir asked. "Respect," Mira answered. "We show respect physically, not only through words." Zalrun watched a boy and his mentor talk quietly about disappointment. The mentor coached him to turn disappointment into motivation, turn emotion into strength. Again, a question. That stings finally, Zalrun asked the question that lived in every alien's mind. "Captain Mira, what happens when humans face real danger?" Mira's expression softened. "Danger does not defeat us. It teaches us. We unite, we adapt, we do not back down." Zalrun swallowed. He understood now why rumors spread fear. Not because humans destroyed things, but because they grew stronger through challenge. Signs of collapse as. The ambassador looked down at the habitat again. Something strange happened. His knees shook. His breathing became shallow. Beltir rushed forward. "Ambassador, Are you all right? Zalrun whispered. Growth, improvement, unity, controlled emotion, adaptability. I cannot process it all. His species' culture had limited growth for thousands of years. Seeing humans move forward every day was overwhelming. Mira offered her hand, steady and calm. Breathe slowly. You are safe. Take your time. Her voice guided him back to balance. Humans did not push harder when someone was weak. They supported the end of Part 2A as they left the habitat for the day. Zalrun looked back one last time. Humans continued training, studying, laughing, failing, improving. He whispered to himself, no wonder the galaxy fears them. Humans do not accept limits. He walked away, but the image of the habitat stayed burned inside his mind. Tomorrow, Captain Mira promised they would explore deeper layers, where emotional strength and teamwork reached levels no alien had ever seen. And somewhere inside Zalrun's chest, a small flame of quiet respect began to grow. The next morning arrived quietly on the Human Union space station, but inside Ambassador Zalrun's mind, storms spun in slow circles. He had slept poorly. Images of humans lifting weights, shaping emotion, singing with joy, and training in storms kept dancing through his thoughts. His culture never trained feelings. They never challenged storms. They hid from discomfort. Now he understood something shocking. Humanity grew because they walked toward pressure, not away from it. Beltier entered the guest chamber holding a warm drink. Ambassador, he said nervously, today's schedule looks even more complex. Captain Mira wants to show us the core habitats. The core? Zalrun whispered. He felt his stomach tighten. The parts he had seen already seemed advanced enough. If there was a deeper level, what could possibly be inside? Nevertheless, he straightened his robe. We continue. Curiosity is stronger than fear, Beltier muttered quietly. For humans, maybe. Meeting Captain Mira waited at the end of the hallway as calm as sunrise. Her uniform was perfect, her posture steady. She smiled warmly. Good morning, Ambassador. Good morning, Beltier. Good morning, they replied together. Mira studied Zalrun's eyes. You seem tired. A busy mind does not rest easily, Zalrun admitted. Mira nodded. Then today you will see how we rest. Rest? Beltier asked. Humans rest by training more. Mira chuckled softly. No, today is about balance. A strange word. Zalrun's species believed balance was found by removing challenges. Humans found balance by managing them. Mind Focus Hall. Their first stop was a quiet, dim room filled with humans sitting cross-legged on small cushions. Their breathing was slow and deep. The room smelled lightly of something sweet. Flowers, maybe. Tiny lights floated gently in the air, forming simple shapes that moved slowly across the ceiling. These are mind focus exercises, Mira whispered, not wanting to disturb anyone. We use them to calm storms in our thoughts. Zalrun watched one human controlling their breathing, while shifting colors on a screen by thought alone. You can control machines with focus? Mira nodded. Focus is energy. We train it like muscle. Beltier's antenna twitched in surprise. Does this help in real situations? Yes, Mira answered. A calm mind finds solutions in danger. Zalrun suddenly understood why humans survived disasters faster than others. They trained their minds to stay clear. Emotional sharing circles. The next chamber was shaped like a circle with soft chairs. Humans sat together, speaking gently about their feelings and challenges. Others listened without interrupting. This is emotional sharing, Mira explained. We speak feelings openly. Zalrun blinked. Openly, does this not create weakness? Or competition? Mira shook her head. No. Sharing feelings helps us understand each other. It builds trust. Zalrun watched a tall man speak about disappointment. The group did not laugh. They offered advice, gentle words, and ideas. Together, they helped him feel stronger. My culture hides emotions, Zalrun whispered. And that is why emotions grow wild, Mira replied quietly. When ignored, they become storms. Zalrun felt his heart thump heavily. He had lived his whole life avoiding sadness and fear. Humans accepted them and turned them into growth. Generational hall. They walked deeper into the habitat. The air warmed gently. The next hall was filled with elders teaching younger humans how to solve problems from history. They sat around tables with maps and recordings of human mistakes, wars, accidents, disasters. Why show children mistakes? Veltir asked nervously. Mira answered softly. To make sure history does not repeat. Zalrun's species hid their historical failures. Shame was too strong, but here humans studied past pain to prevent future pain. One elder spoke. We do not fear the past. We learn from it. Zalrun's chest tightened again. Learning from pain was something his culture never considered. The growth gardens. Their next step took them into a large indoor garden. Tall trees stretched toward artificial sunlight. Plants of many colors grew in beautiful shapes. Humans tended to them with care, trimming, watering, adjusting light levels. Children helped, smiling proudly. Why do you grow plants here? Zalrun asked. For patience, Mira said. Plants grow slowly. Caring for them teaches responsibility and calmness. Young humans learned to wait. They learned patience from seeds. Zalrun had never seen plant-based teaching before. It was peaceful, gentle. Wise Veltir touched a flower with fear in his eyes. It smelled nice. On my homeworld, he whispered. Children are never trusted with life. Mira answered kindly. We trust early. That builds confidence. Confidence built young humans into strong adults. Crisis simulation. Room next. Heavy metal doors opened into a room full of blinking lights, alarms, and holographic fires. Humans rushed around, shouting instructions calmly. One group repaired fake hull damage. Another guided frightened civilians to safety. A third communicated with holographic leadership teams. Zalrun flinched. Is this real? It is safe, Mira assured. But it feels real. We train crisis response often. One human slipped and nearly fell. Another caught him instantly. They continued without anger or blame. This teaches unity under pressure, Mira explained. Zalrun's species froze when crisis struck. They avoided danger unless necessary. Humans ran toward it, together. Veltir whispered, Humans practice danger? Mira nodded. So when real danger arrives, we already know how to work as one. The ambassador felt his legs weaken again. Resting pools. To calm nerves, Mira guided them into a peaceful room filled with warm water pools. Humans floated silently, eyes closed. Gentle music echoed across stone walls. Soft lights reflected across the water, changing colors as calm waves moved. This is how we recover from stress, Mira said. Water? Veltir asked. Yes, Mira smiled. Floating teaches the body to relax. It releases hidden tension. Zalrun watched as stressed humans entered the pool, spent a short time floating peacefully, then left calmer than before. His culture never released tension. It built until it cracked. No wonder humans survived stress. The Mentor Bridge. Their final stop in the habitat was a long bridge overlooking every training area. On it, older humans walked beside younger ones, coaching, supporting, answering questions. These are mentors, Mira said softly. We do not let new generations face life alone. We guide them. Zalrun swallowed hard. His culture separated generations. Wisdom did not flow easily. A young girl asked her mentor, Why do we train so much? The mentor smiled. Because someday someone will need our strength. Someday, someone, not ourselves. That was new. Humans trained not only for themselves but for each other. Veltir's realization. Veltir suddenly spoke. Captain, do humans ever give up? Mira's eyes hardened gently. No. Giving up means someone else might suffer. So we try again and again. Veltir's small body trembled. My people give up quickly. We fear risk. Mira placed a gentle hand on his shoulder. Courage begins small, but it grows. Veltir's eyes shined with hope. It was the first time anyone had spoken courage into him. The moment catches up Ambassador Zalrun walked silently to the railing and stared down. Everywhere he looked, humans were growing, pushing limits gently but steadily. They did not rush. They did not stand still. Adaptability, creativity, emotional strength, unity, patience, responsibility, recovery. Humanity trained every trait like muscle. Zalrun whispered, This habitat is not about comfort. It is about growth, Mira nodded. Exactly. And what grows becomes stronger, he said with slow fear. Yes, she replied. That is why the galaxy watches us carefully. The collapse suddenly, Zalrun swayed. His vision blurred. The lights around him dimmed. His knees weakened as his mind tried to organize everything he had learned. Veltir shouted, "Ambassador!" Humans rushed toward him instantly, not shouting, not panicking, but moving with practiced coordination. Strong arms supported him. Calm voices guided his breathing. "You are safe," Mira whispered. "Breathe slowly and out." The ambassador's mind burned with realization. Humans are not powerful because of weapons, not because of muscles, not because of technology. They are powerful because they never stop improving. He collapsed gently into a relaxation chair as medics checked his condition. They moved with precision, kindness, and speed. Within minutes, his breathing steadied. When he opened his eyes, Mira was still beside him. "You are safe," she repeated. Zalrun wiped his shaking hands. "Captain, I have never seen a species like yours." Mira tilted her head. "Is that fear or respect?" The ambassador swallowed. "Both." A quiet walk back. When the tour ended, Mira guided them slowly toward the exit. "You have seen only one layer," she said. "But humanity has many." Zalrun's voice shook. "More?" "Yes," Mira answered gently. "But not today." Today had been enough to change an entire view of humanity. The night thought. That night, Zalrun stared at the ceiling of his guest chamber. He whispered to himself, "Humans are not unstoppable because of strength, but because they become stronger every day." He fell asleep with those words echoing softly, and the galaxy, unknowingly, stood on the edge of change. The next day dawned softly on the Human Union space station. Outside, the black of space stretched endlessly, dotted with stars that shimmered like distant fires. Inside, Ambassador Zalrun felt a strange tension in his chest, part fear, part awe. Yesterday had overwhelmed him. Today he would see the heart of human strength, and he feared he might not survive the shock of discovery. Veltir hovered nervously at his side, his small frame tense. "Ambassador," he whispered, "if yesterday was this, imagine today. Captain Mira said we will see the true core." "What does that mean?" Zalrun shook his head. "I do not know. But we continue. Observation is our duty." Captain Mira waited in the docking corridor, her calm presence like an anchor. "Good morning, Ambassador. I hope you rested." "I rested," Zalrun replied, though truthfully sleep had been a battle between curiosity and disbelief. "But my mind feels heavier than sleep can fix." "That is normal," Mira said. "The mind weighs heavily when it learns the truth." Entering the core habitats. The doors to the core habitats slid open with a quiet hiss. The space beyond glimmered with soft white light. But what struck Zalrun first was the size. The core habitats were massive, like entire cities under a dome. Rivers of walking paths twisted through areas filled with people training, learning, and exploring. The air was warm, with a faint scent of plants and polished stone. Immediately, his eyes caught movement, humans practicing advanced teamwork exercises, some lifting enormous structures together, others navigating complex mazes that changed shape constantly. He had seen training before, but this was beyond expectation. Every movement had purpose, every action improved someone, and every individual knew their role. Captain Mira walked beside him. "Here we train more than body and mind. We train resilience, empathy, and foresight. Every human learns to anticipate challenges, support others, and remain calm under pressure." Zalrun's antenna twitched nervously. "Empathy?" he whispered. "You teach feeling as a strength?" Mira nodded. "Yes, strength without understanding others is fragile. Our greatest danger is fear. We teach humans to face it and grow." Veltir shivered. "My species would collapse immediately. We avoid challenges, avoid risk, avoid emotion. Humans do not avoid," Zalrun said quietly, almost to himself. They advanced toward it. The training rivers. They first arrived at the training rivers, long corridors where humans navigated constantly changing obstacles. Some rivers simulated hurricanes, others earthquakes, even simulated blackouts. Children, adults, and elders participated together. A child slipped on a wet surface. Immediately, 3 adults steadied them without shouting, guiding their hands and encouraging balance. The child laughed and tried again. "They allow failure," Veltir whispered. "Why would anyone allow failure?" Mira smiled gently. "Because failure teaches faster than success. Humans do not fear mistakes, they learn from them. They grow." Zalrun watched a team of adults solve a complicated structural puzzle in the hurricane simulation. One wrong move could have toppled the structure. They paused, communicated calmly, and corrected errors instantly. "This is impossible," he muttered. "No other species I know functions like this under stress." "It is not impossible," Mira said. "It is deliberate." The ambassador could not hide the awe in his voice. "Deliberate? They train for danger. Voluntarily." "Yes," Mira said softly. "Because we understand the value of growth." Emotional mastery chambers. Next, they entered a series of smaller, intimate chambers where humans practiced emotional mastery. Screens displayed various scenarios: a storm, a conflict, a personal loss. Volunteers experienced simulated emotional events while others practiced supportive guidance. A young human faced a holographic scene of their home planet destroyed. The volunteer next to them spoke softly, guiding them to focus on their breath, find inner calm, and channel grief into action. Zalrun's mind struggled to comprehend. His people avoided grief, anger, and sadness. Humans trained it like a muscle. He felt dizziness and awe at the same time. "Your species uses emotion as a tool," he whispered. "Yes," Mira said. "We do not let it control us. We guide it to strength." A soft sound of laughter echoed through the room. A group of humans celebrated small victories. One student overcame fear of heights. Another learned to express grief constructively. All moments, big or small, were acknowledged and reinforced. Peltier muttered, "My species would never survive this." Zalrun shook his head, his eyes wide. "We survive by hiding. Humans survive by mastering." The Leadership Dome. The next area was the Leadership Dome, a circular arena where humans practiced decision-making under extreme conditions. Holograms of crises flashed around: collapsing bridges, environmental disasters, and unexpected threats. Groups of humans coordinated instantly, assigning tasks, making plans, and acting decisively. The holographic simulations were intense, yet they remained calm. Each decision was followed by analysis. What worked? What failed? How can the team improve next time? "This is strategy combined with empathy," Mira explained. "We teach humans to understand each other and anticipate the needs of the group." Zalrun watched an adult explain calmly to a child why one plan might fail. The child nodded, absorbed the lesson, and suggested an improvement. The adults listened seriously. Every voice mattered, every idea was considered. This is incredible," he said softly. "Even in crisis, they respect each other." "Yes," Mira said. "Respect is essential. Strength without respect is fragile. Humanity is dangerous not because we dominate, but because we unite and improve constantly." The innovation halls, they walked through corridors filled with inventions, experiments, and prototypes. Humans tinkered, built, and solved problems in real time. Machines hummed softly, responding to thoughts and movement. Students demonstrated flying drones, environmental suits, and energy converters. Zalrun noticed something unusual. Humans learned from each other's mistakes. Failed experiments were displayed openly, explained to all, and studied. Every failure became a lesson, not shame. Peltier whispered, "My people hide failure. Humans, they embrace it?" "Yes," Zalrun said slowly, "and they grow stronger because of it." One young inventor smiled proudly as an experiment succeeded after multiple failures. The room erupted in quiet applause. The ambassador realized humans did not fear public failure. They trained resilience in front of the eyes of others. "This is adaptation," he whispered. "But conscious, deliberate, faster than evolution alone," Mira smiled. "Correct. We evolve with intention. The heart of humanity, children and mentorship." Finally, they reached the mentorship bridge, overlooking multiple habitats. Young children worked with adults, learning skills ranging from engineering to strategy, from emotional control to leadership. Zalrun noticed one boy struggling with a task. An adult approached him calmly, explaining not with force or anger but with patience. Another child offered advice, guided gently, and everyone improved together. "These children, they learn responsibility early," Peltier whispered. They are prepared for life in a way our species cannot imagine." "Yes," Mira said. "We invest in the next generation. Every child learns to be resilient, empathetic, and adaptable." Zalrun realized something terrifying and beautiful. Humans were dangerous not because they fought wars or possessed weapons. They were dangerous because they never stopped improving. From childhood onward, every human was a work in progress, and the galaxy underestimated the sum of their growth. A pause at the observation deck. Zalrun leaned on the railing at the observation deck. Below, every human activity was purposeful. Children trained, adults coordinated, mentors guided, machines hummed, music played softly, and lights glimmered like stars. This is unlike anything I have ever witnessed, he murmured. No species I know prepares themselves so fully. Physically, mentally, emotionally, socially, every moment is growth. Yes, Mira said, and the growth never stops. That is why humanity survives what others cannot. That is why we thrive. Veltir shook. This is terrifying. And amazing. Zalrun felt a strange heat in his chest, a combination of fear, awe, and respect. He realized his mind was incapable of fully grasping humanity's depth in a single day. The ambassadors collapsed suddenly. Zalrun swayed. His legs could not support him. His eyes widened. The scale of what he had witnessed, the deliberate emotional training, the child mentorship, the resilience building, the constant adaptation, was more than his mind could process. Ambassador, Veltir shouted. Humans rushed forward immediately, not with panic, but with precision and calm coordination. They guided him to a reclining chair, monitoring his breathing and heart rate. Captain Mira knelt beside him. You are safe, she said gently. Breathe slowly in, out. Zalrun tried to speak, but his mind could only repeat one thought. They never stop improving. Yes, Mira whispered. And that is why humanity is unstoppable. The ambassador's knees weakened as he let himself rest. He realized that human strength was not in weapons, speed, or size. It was in continuous, deliberate growth. A quiet reflection burr, Zalrun recovered slightly. Mira guided him to a small garden filled with quiet water streams. They sat on a bench surrounded by flowers and soft light. You have seen the core of humanity, Mira said softly. Tomorrow you will see our emotional unity and leadership in action. The sun of distant stars streamed softly through the transparent domes of the Human Union space station, illuminating the core habitats with a calm brilliance. Ambassador Zalrun had spent days witnessing human strength, their deliberate growth, and their remarkable ability to manage emotion, physical challenge, and teamwork. Yet Captain Mira had warned him that today, he would see the ultimate layer, the emotional unity and leadership that made humanity truly unstoppable. Zalrun followed Mira down a winding corridor, his body tense, his mind heavy. Veltir hovered nervously at his side, antennae trembling. Ambassador, he whispered, if the previous layers almost overwhelmed you, I fear what we will see today. Zalrun inhaled deeply. Curiosity outweighs fear. We must continue. Mira smiled, her calm confidence unshakable. Then let us begin. The Leadership Council Chambers. The first stop was the Leadership Council Chambers. A circular hall with soft lighting and a wide central table displayed holograms of crises, planetary situations, and ongoing research. Leaders of human teams moved around calmly, communicating with faraway stations and colonies. Zalrun noticed that every leader listened carefully, consulted others, and allowed suggestions, even from young students. Decisions were made collectively, not by command alone. Every voice mattered. This is democracy? Zalrun whispered. Yes, Mira said. We combine leadership with empathy. Authority alone is weak. Understanding strengthens it, Veltir muttered. My species follows strict hierarchy. No consultation. Decisions are made, obeyed, feared. Humans, they trust each other? Yes, Zalrun said quietly. And that trust multiplies their power. He felt a strange tension in his chest. Leadership here was not about fear or control. It was about coordination, understanding, and support. Every leader was both strong and wise, but also human, vulnerable, learning, and improving continuously. The Emotional Unity Dome next. Mira guided them into the Emotional Unity Dome. The space was filled with hundreds of humans forming circles, holding hands, eyes closed. They hummed softly, creating a vibration that resonated throughout the dome. What is this? Veltir asked nervously. Mira replied, we synchronize emotional energy. Humans learn to understand the feelings of others. amplify empathy, and coordinate collective focus. It strengthens mind, body, and spirit. Salrun's large eyes widened. He had studied alien cultures for decades. No species dared to intentionally share emotion on this scale. Fear of uncontrolled emotion was universal. Humans, however, embraced it. They did not merely survive emotional storms, they trained in them. A young human girl suddenly opened her eyes and smiled. The room reacted subtly, the hum adjusting, hearts aligning. Salrun felt a soft vibration through the floor like a pulse, and realized it wasn't technology. It was collective human focus. "Ambassador," Mira said softly, "you are feeling our unity. This is our greatest strength. Not weapons, not machines, not muscle. Unity." The ambassador's throat tightened. He tried to speak but could only whisper. They combine emotion with will. Intentionally. "Yes," Mira said, "and the galaxy underestimates it." The simulation of extreme crisis, they were led next into a massive simulation chamber. Holographic storms, fires, floods, and collapsing structures formed a chaotic environment, yet humans moved calmly within it. Teams rescued simulated victims, repaired damage, and made critical decisions without panic. Salrun's mind reeled. He had seen smaller crisis simulations before, but never at this scale. Every human knew their role. Every action was purposeful. Mistakes were corrected immediately, and learning occurred continuously. "They thrive under pressure," Veltir whispered. "My people. We would fail immediately." "Yes," Salrun admitted. "But humans, they transform pressure into growth." He watched a young boy guide a holographic civilian to safety, then turned to assist an adult struggling with a collapsed beam. The adult smiled and nodded. Every individual, no matter age, contributed. None were left behind. Mira explained, "We train to respond not for ourselves alone, but for others. Individual strength is limited. Collective growth is limitless." Salrun's chest felt heavy. He had never imagined a species using crisis as a tool for improvement, rather than fear. Observation from the skywalk, Mira guided the ambassador to a glass skywalk high above the core habitat. Below, humans were everywhere, training, learning, laughing, and improving. Children assisted adults. Adults guided children. Machines hummed in harmony. Music floated softly through the air. Salrun whispered, "Every action, every moment, is training." "Yes," Mira said. "Physical training, mental training, emotional training, leadership training. It is continuous. We never stop growing." Veltir muttered, This is impossible. No species can maintain this." "But they do," Salrun said quietly. "Humanity does." The Hall of Reflection. Finally, they entered the Hall of Reflection. A serene space filled with water pools, soft light, and gentle music. Humans sat in quiet contemplation, alone or in small groups. They reflected on their actions, discussed failures and successes, and planned improvements for tomorrow. Salrun noticed a pattern. Every human, from youngest to oldest, consciously reviewed themselves. Their training was never only physical, it was mental, emotional, and social. Even mistakes were celebrated as opportunities for improvement. This is deliberate self-improvement on a scale I cannot comprehend," Salrun whispered. Mira nodded. "Yes, each human grows daily, voluntarily, intentionally. That is our power. That is why humanity thrives where others fail." Veltir's small voice trembled. They never stop. They improve continuously." Salrun's mind felt tight. His species improved slowly, without guidance or unity. Humans combined every method, every challenge, every lesson into one continuous growth machine, and the galaxy did not even notice. The ambassador's shock at that moment, Salrun felt his legs weaken. His breathing became rapid. He had seen it all. Mental focus, emotional mastery, crisis training, mentorship, leadership, unity, and reflection. He realized the terrifying truth. Humanity's greatest weapon was their will to improve, together, endlessly. Veltir rushed forward, panicking. "Ambassador, you must rest." Salrun's eyes widened. I cannot
comprehend it all."
Humans immediately surrounded him, guiding him to a reclining chair, checking his breathing, his heart rate, and speaking softly. Their calm coordination, even in a moment of sudden crisis, amazed him. Captain Mira knelt beside him. "Breathe slowly, in, out. You are safe. Observe, understand, do not fear." Zalrun tried to speak. Only one thought escaped. They never stop improving. They evolve intentionally. The words faltered. His body could not support his mind. He collapsed gently into the chair, completely overwhelmed. The aftermath Veltir hovered anxiously as humans adjusted the ambassador's position, monitoring him with careful, gentle precision. No panic, no overreaction, just efficiency and calm. Within minutes, Zalrun's breathing normalized. When he opened his eyes, he looked around slowly, taking in every detail of the core habitat once again. His mind tried to process the entirety of human design. Every training program, every mentorship system, every emotional exercise, every act of unity he had witnessed. He understood. Humanity's power was not in weapons, size, or raw strength. It was in continuous, deliberate growth, combined with unity and empathy. No alien species had ever achieved this. He realized the galaxy had misjudged humanity entirely. Not dangerous because of force. Dangerous because they never stopped evolving. Words of respect. Captain Mira watched him quietly. Finally, Zalrun spoke in a hoarse voice. Captain, we're wrong. My council, the galaxy, we underestimated your kind. Mira's voice was calm, almost gentle. It is not about underestimating, Ambassador. It is about understanding. You now see what we truly are. Zalrun's chest heaved. They are unstoppable. Not because of weapons, not because of numbers, but because they never stop. Improving, growing, together. Yes, Mira said softly. That is humanity, Veltir muttered. I cannot even imagine. Zalrun bowed his head slowly. I have witnessed a species unlike any other. A species that challenges limits deliberately, that faces danger, that shapes emotion, that trains every generation. That... He could speak no more. He collapsed in exhausted awe once again. This time it was not fear alone. It was overwhelming respect. Final reflection later, when the ambassador had recovered and Veltir finally dared to ask a question, Zalrun looked quietly over the habitat. They do not stop, he whispered. Every day, every moment, every challenge. Used to grow, to survive, to thrive, to prepare the next generation. Humanity is unstoppable because it refuses stagnation, because it chooses growth. Captain Mira nodded. And now, Ambassador, you have seen the truth. Humanity is strong because we never stop improving. That is the greatest power any species can have. Zalrun closed his eyes, overwhelmed. The galaxy had never seen a species like this. He understood why others feared humans. Not for their weapons, not for their strength, but because humans improved constantly, deliberately, and unitedly. And for the first time in his life, the ambassador realized the galaxy had no idea